It was a quiet evening, the kind that made you feel safe in your own home. I had gone to bed early, exhausted from the day's work, hoping for a restful night of sleep. But something felt off. Maybe it was the silence in the house, the way the shadows seemed to stretch across the walls, or maybe it was just my mind playing tricks on me. As I lay there, eyes closed, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't entirely alone. It wasn't an eerie feeling, not at first. It was more like the sensation that someone was standing just a bit too close watching. But I brushed it off. After all, I wasn't expecting any visitors. Then, the soft creak of my bedroom door made me freeze. Liam, my son. At first, I didn't understand what he was doing there. He knew the rules. He was never supposed to come into my room when I was sleeping. He had always respected that boundary. But there he was, standing in the doorway. I opened my eyes, squinting into the dim light. I couldn't make out his expression, but I could tell something was wrong. His presence felt different. The energy in the room had shifted. "Mom?" His voice was barely a whisper, like he was testing the waters, unsure whether I was truly awake. I blinked, trying to shake off the sleepiness. "Liam? What is it? Why are you in here?" For a moment, there was silence. Just the sound of my heartbeat, pounding in my ears, the quietness of the night surrounding us. Then, without warning, he stepped closer. My heart raced as I watched him move toward me. I didn't understand what was happening, but a deep, unsettling feeling started to churn in my stomach. I wanted to reach out, to stop him, but I was paralyzed. It wasn't fear. Exactly, it was confusion. "Liam, what's going on?" I whispered, trying to keep my voice calm, trying to mask the sudden surge of panic I felt building inside me. But deep down, I knew this wasn't just a normal middle-of-the-night visit. And then, just as I thought I understood, he did something that shattered the calm. Liam's hand, trembling, reached out to touch my arm. The warmth of his fingers felt like a strange contrast to the cold dread that suddenly gripped me. I didn't move. I couldn't. He wasn't saying anything. His eyes, wide and almost glazed, didn't meet mine. Instead, they focused somewhere else, somewhere deep within the room, as if lost in thought. "Liam," my voice was barely audible, strained with the confusion and fear that twisted in my chest. "What are you doing?" He didn't answer. He just stood there, as if he couldn't hear me, or worse, didn't want to. For a few moments, time seemed to freeze. The air in the room was thick, heavy with unspoken words. I could feel the chill creeping up my spine as the minutes stretched out, each second making it harder to breathe. Liam's presence felt foreign now, like someone I didn't know, standing in a place that was meant to be safe. My son, my flesh and blood, had always been the boy who would knock before entering, the one who'd never cross a line. But this was something else entirely. I forced myself to sit up, pushing against the weight of the confusion that was clouding my thoughts. "Liam, please, tell me what's going on," I pleaded, my voice breaking through the tension in the room. He shook his head slightly, like he couldn't answer. The way his lips parted as if he were about to speak, but no words came out, left me feeling helpless. Finally, the silence shattered when Liam's voice broke through the air. "I don't know why I'm here, Mom. His words trailed off, leaving a gap between the confession and the action that followed. And that's when it hit me. He wasn't just confused, he was in pain. The kind of pain I didn't understand at first, but the kind that a mother recognizes all too well once it's there, raw and unguarded. This wasn't just about breaking rules or making a mistake. There was something deeper, something he was struggling with that I couldn't see. I stood up then, the urgency of the moment snapping me into full awareness. "Liam, I need you to tell me what's going on, please." My heart ached, but I knew I had to stay calm, even if my insides were screaming. He took a step back, eyes still avoiding mine. His hands were shaking, trembling more than I had ever seen them. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I can't stop myself from doing things I don't want to do. The words were almost incomprehensible, but I could hear the desperation in them, the vulnerability. For the first time, I realized this wasn't just a simple matter of defiance or bad behavior. This was something much more complicated, something beyond my understanding as a mother. I wanted to protect him, to shield him from whatever was tormenting him inside. But I didn't know how. The room felt smaller now, suffocating. I could hear his breathing quick, shallow, and my own heart thundering in my chest. Then, in the darkness of the room, Liam's face softened for a moment, and the walls he had built around himself began to crack. I think I need help, Mom," he whispered, and in that moment, I understood. This wasn't about betrayal, it was about pain. It was about my son reaching out in the only way he knew how, trying to find an answer to something bigger than both of us. My heart ached as I stood there, trying to process his words. Liam, my boy, was in pain. Deep unspoken pain that I had never noticed before, or perhaps never allowed myself to see. I felt a wave of guilt crash over me. How had I missed it? How had I failed to see the warning signs in the months before? I moved closer to him, my hands trembling as I reached out. Liam, you don't have to carry this alone. Whatever it is, we'll face it together. You don't have to hide it anymore. But even as I said the words, I wasn't sure if I could believe them. How do you help someone when you don't even understand the root of their pain? Liam's eyes flickered toward me, then down to the floor. I don't know if you can, Mom, he said softly. It's like a part of me is broken, and I don't know how to fix it. In that moment, everything seemed to freeze again. His words hung in the air, suspended in time. The past, all the moments I thought we had shared and the love I thought we had built, now felt like a distant memory. A memory that was slipping away, just out of reach. I couldn't help but wonder what had happened to the boy I used to know. The one who would laugh and play, the one who trusted me with his fears and dreams. Where had he gone? For the first time, I realized that this was more than just a moment of confusion. This was a breaking point for both of us. As I looked at my son, I knew I needed to act. We needed answers. We needed someone who could help us navigate the storm that was clearly consuming him. But how could I find that help? How could I be the one to lead him to it when I, too, was lost in the overwhelming uncertainty of it all? Liam, I whispered, my voice barely audible. We'll find someone who can help you. We'll find a way to fix this. But you have to let me in. You have to trust me, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. His eyes met mine, then really met mine for the first time that night. And for a brief moment, I saw the faintest flicker of hope. I'll try, Mom, he said quietly. I'll try to trust you. In the silence that followed, a new understanding settled between us. It wasn't about the mistakes of the past or the confusion of that night. It was about the future. It was about healing together. I pulled him into a tight hug, not caring if my tears soaked his shirt. I was his mother. I would be there for him, no matter what. I'm so sorry you've been carrying this alone, I whispered through my tears. We'll face it together, I promise. And for the first time that night, I felt like maybe, just maybe, there was hope for both of us. The road ahead would be long, and I knew it wouldn't be easy. There would be obstacles, setbacks, and moments when we'd both wonder if we were strong enough to keep going. But I also knew that with each step, we would learn more about each other and about ourselves. The night had changed us both. It had opened our eyes to the depth of Liam's struggles, and it had shown me that the love we shared could withstand even the darkest of moments. As I tucked him back into his bed, I whispered one last thing. We'll get through this, Liam, together. And with that, I closed the door behind me, knowing that the true healing had only just begun. The next few days felt like a blur. It was as though time had suspended itself, each moment heavy with the weight of what had happened. I tried to move through the motions of everyday life, but nothing felt the same. The conversations we'd had, the emotions we'd shared, they lingered in the background, shaping everything we did. Liam became quieter, more withdrawn than usual. I could tell he was wrestling with something inside himself, something he wasn't ready to face yet. But the difference now was that we were both aware of it. We were no longer pretending, no longer hiding from the truth. We had acknowledged the pain, and for the first time, I felt like we were on the road to healing, It wasn't long before I made the call. I found a counselor, someone who specialized in adolescent issues and family dynamics. It was a tough decision, but I knew it was the right one. This wasn't something we could fix on our own, not without guidance. And though Liam was reluctant, at first, I could see the hesitation in his eyes, the fear of being judged. It was clear he knew deep down that he needed help. The first session was uncomfortable for both of us. Liam sat with his arms crossed, his eyes fixed on the floor, unwilling to engage. I could sense his discomfort, but I also knew it was a necessary step. We had to start somewhere, and so we did. It took a few weeks of sessions before Liam started to open up. Slowly, the walls he had built around himself began to crumble, and the truth started to spill out. He spoke of feeling lost, of the pressure to be perfect, of the fear that had been consuming him. The deeper he went into his feelings, the more I understood just how much pain he had been hiding. I was amazed at how much he had been carrying, and how little I had noticed. As a mother, I had always prided myself on being there for him, but I had failed to see the signs. That guilt resurfaced stronger than ever. But as I watched Liam begin to speak his truth, I realized that this wasn't about blaming myself. It was about moving forward. Our relationship began to change. The honesty between us grew, and I started to see glimpses of the boy I once knew, the one who could smile without hesitation, the one who wasn't afraid to dream. But it was clear that the road ahead would be long, that healing wouldn't happen overnight. And I was ready for that. I knew that our bond could survive anything, but it would take time, patience, and understanding. It was during one of our late-night talks, a time when we both felt most vulnerable, that Liam looked at me and said, "I'm sorry for everything, Mom." I could see the weight of his apology in his eyes, but I also knew that no apology was needed. The fact that he was here, with me, facing his demons, it was enough. "You don't have to apologize," I replied, my voice thick with emotion. "You don't have to be sorry for being human." We both knew the work wasn't finished. There would be ups and downs, moments of doubt and moments of clarity. But we had started something together, a journey not just of healing, but of rediscovery. As I tucked Liam in one last time that night, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: peace. True, deep peace. We had faced the unthinkable, and we were still standing, stronger than before. "You're not alone anymore," I whispered to him, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "And I'll never stop fighting for you." He smiled softly, his eyes closing as he drifted off to sleep. And in that quiet moment, I knew that despite everything, everything would be okay.